Well, welcome in to My Dogs Are Barking on the MPW Digital. I'm Landon. I'm joined by Austin, and here on this Thursday edition of the show, really excited to be with you guys. Got a lot of good stuff to talk about. Talk about Mississippi State's win against Vanderbilt. Their really big matchup this weekend in Starkville against Kentucky. We'll talk transfer portal and also the college football playoff. Austin, I didn't even realize it until you brought it up, but there's college football playoff games today.
Yeah, I told you before the recording. There's only we got to soak it in because there's only 3 more games left. So we gotta watch every down we can because we're gonna miss it. We're gonna do a lot of talking on the off season about this about next season, but we only got 3 more games of this season. It's very sad.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, last season you and I were talking like in the off season, talking just anything we could. I mean, we literally broke down each team that Mississippi State was playing, talked about different head coaches in the league. I mean, there was as much content as you can come up with in the off season. So we'll continue to bring that coverage in the off season, and we'll have some great guests as well joining us that we're really excited about. We will get into all those things and break everything down. Before we do that, I want to let you know that this episode is sponsored in part by Arpa's Coffee Bar in Starkville. Arpa's understands great food and drinks are best enjoyed in the company of friends and loved ones. Their awesome and inviting atmosphere creates a great backdrop for laughter, conversation, and shared memories. And so whether you're seeking for a good spot to catch up over coffee, a good and lively gathering place, or just a vibrant late night hangout spot, their friendly staff is dedicated to ensure your experience is nothing short of exceptional. It's located in the heart of Starkville in the Cotton District. Mention that you are a listener of My Dogs Are Barking podcast and get 15% off of your order. It's a no-brainer, folks. Very good idea, especially if you're going to the game this weekend and it's going to be cold. I'm giving you a life hack. I'm just telling you right now. You want a place close to campus, go to Arpa's. Get you, like, they have so many good flavored coffees, or if you're a black coffee person, that's fine too. But do yourself a favor, get yourself some coffee before you head into the game. My Dogs Are Barking is also brought to you in part by our great sponsors at the Mississippi Edward Jones Advisors. Hey, what does it mean to be rich? Maybe it's less about reaching a magic number and more about discovering the magic in life. Skip Langley is your Batesville, Mississippi Edward Jones advisor, serving clients in the area and across the state. Count on him for financial strategies that can help you support a life you love, because the key to being rich is knowing what counts. So contact him today at 662-563-9843, and together you can find your rich. Edward Jones, member SIPC. Austin, Mississippi State took on Vanderbilt in Nashville on Tuesday night for another quad one opportunity. And Vanderbilt's a team that coming into the game was, I think, 13-1, right? They were something that was,
Yep.
yeah, something really good, and had some wins over ACC teams. So they're not the same struggling, Vanderbilt team we've seen. And Mississippi State just looked dominant, like throughout the entire game. Mississippi State ends up winning 76-64, but State led by as many as 22 at one point.
Yeah, it was 22. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so you think about Mississippi State, like in the game, their best players, or whatever, most talented players. Riley Kugel had 0 points. Josh Hubbard had 9 points. Was 3 of 9 shooting from the field, 1 of 5 from 3. Like really struggled, and yet and even Keyshawn Murphy. I mean, Keyshawn didn't attempt a lot of shots, but he only had 4 points. They got a ton of production from guys that don't usually crack, the starting lineup. And that's not fully true. But RJ Melendez put in 32 minutes and had 19 points. Was 8 of 14 shooting, 7 rebounds. Was all over the floor. Cam Matthews 16 points, 5 rebounds, 3 blocks in the game. Claudel Harris had some really clutch shots in the game. I don't know, what did you make of this game where State really did dominate? I mean, Vanderbilt pushed a little bit, but State dominated.
Yeah, in this game going into it, we didn't really know who was going to win just because, all the predictions, it looked like it was going to be 50-50, a toss-up game. And if you would have told me that, Josh Hubbard had 9 points, Riley Kugel had 0, and Keyshawn Murphy had 4 points, I would have said we would have gotten blown out and we would have gotten embarrassed. But, honestly, and like you were right. It was a dominant win. I mean, they did have a little comeback there at the end, but I mean, we were up by 22 points. They come crawling back where they were only down 5, and I was, I sat up a little bit, getting a little nervous, but and then we were able to get it further away. But I have a really good feeling about this team. This team has not played their best basketball yet. I can say that with a lot of grace, because we got a lot more games to be played, and I'm excited to see what this Bulldogs team can do. There's a lot of good teams out there, but I mean, I think the Bulldogs are one of those teams, and I think we're going to really find that out Saturday. But this was a great team win when you got guys like Riley Kugel and Josh Hubbard who aren't playing very well, who played poorly, and the depth on this team. We haven't seen depth like this in a long time, and we've never seen it with a Chris Jans team here in Starkville. I'm very excited about this team. We got a lot of high hopes.
Well, you're right, and State really did look good because, as you mentioned, that they got production from all types of players that are not their number one guys. RJ Melendez was a really good pickup. I remember, when he came from Georgia, I was one of the people, he didn't even play a ton at Georgia the last season. We're like, oh my goodness, we got a backup on a bad Georgia team. And it just goes to show you, this is a great example. Coaches know what they're looking for. I looked at that and thought, oh, for heaven's sake, man, this guy's never even played. Give me a break. RJ Melendez has been clutch for Mississippi State this season. He's a good shooter. He fits Chris Jans' level of defender. You know what I mean? He's really, really good when it comes to getting in the face of people. And now Mississippi State looks forward to Saturday. And on Saturday, Mississippi State is going to be taking on Kentucky team that is still ranked in the top 10. They just dropped a game at Georgia. So they're going to be very upset. But Saturday night in the Humphrey Coliseum, my dogs are still waiting to see if they're credentialed for that game. We'll see. I spoke with Matt yesterday, and he said he'll let me know soon. So that we'll figure that out in terms of coverage. But it's going to be a really interesting game. Here's the thing for Kentucky. They're not the same. They're entering a new era from Calipari, and they have several people on their team that can contribute. They're not just led by one NBA guy. They have several guys that can play. Kobe Bria is a good shooter. Struggled against Georgia, but I mean he could come back and have a good game. Omega Awa. I probably did not pronounce that right, but what a great name. He can score. Lamont Butler can kind of do it all. He had 20 points in the game. Amari Williams, who almost transferred to State from Drexel, is almost averaging double digits. They have 5 different players that are averaging double digits, so they can really share the scoring load for Kentucky. This is a really big game, man. I mean, if Mississippi State goes and wins that game, and it's a winnable game versus this particular Kentucky game, that sets up a matchup next Tuesday in Auburn against a top 2 team in the nation, which would be, a huge matchup in the game. And here's the thing about State, and I want to get your opinion on Kentucky. State has moved up to the 12th ranked team in the net. Think about that. Out of all the teams in the nation, 12th in the net. They are currently a number 2 seed, according to Joe Lunardi. The last time Mississippi State was a 2 seed, Austin, do you know when it was? Some quick trivia.
Was it 2004?
03, 04. And the team they got beaten in the second round versus a 7 seed Xavier, who was a good team. I think they went on to the Elite 8. But that was a really good team. This team is also a 2 seed and the number 8 overall seed, according to Joe Lunardi. And look, this win will only help with that. So State is really, really done well. They're 4-0 in quad 1 games. This is another opportunity. Man, if you go 5-0 in quad 1 games to start, and let's say you drop at Auburn, you're 5-1, and you lost a game on the road at Auburn, doesn't hurt you at all.
Yeah, and I will say one thing about that. I mean, if you look at all those teams that we play that are quad 1 teams, probably none of those teams are going to drop into quad 2. I think they're quality quad 1 team, quad 1 wins that are going to stay quad 1 the entire season. So I think that's a great thing.
Yeah, let's look at it. If you're looking on YouTube, you will get the best technical treatment. Let's go down here and help me, Austin, talk through some of these games they got. There were quad one.
Yeah, I know. Obviously, Memphis and South Carolina was Utah. SMU was
I don't know if
Pittsburgh. Obviously,
was South Carolina. I think South Carolina would be two. Would they be quad two?
you know what? Yeah, you're right. You're right. I forgot about
I think
all their losses.
yeah, they've lost a few. So it'd be Memphis, Pitt, Utah, SMU,
Yeah, SMU and
and
then
then
Vanderbilt.
Vandy. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so have an opportunity to beat a Kentucky team would be, I mean, just massive. And then I mean, look at all the opportunities you have coming up. Everybody outside of South Carolina, I mean, literally up until January 29th is a quad one opportunity. It's just, man, State has a great opportunity in front of them. And like you said, man, they have got a team that is just, I don't know, we have not seen a team like this where multiple people can score. Here's the scary thing. And it's a big if, because you know, if you're cold in basketball, it's sometimes going to be very cold. But if Hubbard can get hot, I mean, honestly, we hadn't even really seen him at full strength this season. I don't feel like, right?
No, not really. I mean, there's not a game in mind where he was like last year Josh Hubbard. I don't really have a game in mind.
Yeah, I can't think of any either. Like he for whatever reason has not been able to sink it. But there are all these guys there to help him out. So if he's able to get going along with these people, I mean, we're talking about one of the most talented state teams in recent history. And you know, within the state, Ole Miss has a very talented squad as well. They just got their second SEC when they went on the road at Arkansas and got a win 73. Oh, whoa, cameras zoomed in on me. 73-66 on the road. And Arkansas is not the same team they have been in the past couple of years. Calipari admitted last week that they didn't even have shoot around before their before their game. I don't know what's going on there, man. It's not ideal. But State has a big opportunity this weekend. If you had to predict, Austin, where they are, do you think State can State and Kentucky has been a tough game the past couple of years, and State has not been able to close it out? What do you think happens here?
Yeah, at home in the hump, not in the hump. Yeah, in the hump. It's I got hump and rump, rump mixed up. I think this is going to be such a big game. The excitement in Starkville is going to be crazy, and I just can't imagine the excitement if we beat Kentucky going into the rest of the season. This is such a big game for the Bulldogs, but I mean, to be honest, I'm picking us to win it. I think that we know how big of a game it is. We played our competition so far this year, and I think we're going to pull it out. I mean, I really have a lot of faith in the guys. I mean, Kentucky had a really bad loss, and so at Georgia. So I really do think we're going to pull it off. This is a really good team. Josh Hubbard, he's due for a game. I mean, he's just due for it, especially last game he only had 9 points. You know, Riley Kugel's going to at least score this game. I bet Keyshawn Murphy's going to have more than 4 points this game. You know, I have a good feeling that we're going to win this game, but we gotta lock down on defense. But I know if you're in Starkville, show up on Saturday. It's gonna be a great experience.
Yeah, I'll just say this before we move on to football and to the portal. This is an opportunity the State has not had in a long time. So if you're a fan, you need to go to these games. State has not had a team like this in a really long time. I'll tell you that the best team that I've seen Mississippi State have was that 2008, 2009 team that made the tournament, and Jarvis Bernardo, and you had was Lamont Gordon, had several people. D Boss came in, and Rayburn Johnson. There are some good guys. It was not a team with this much talent, especially defensively. Like Bernardo was great down low, but they did not have a guy like Cam Matthews that would lock you up at the perimeter. And obviously the game changes, so you had to go to the rim. That's where Bernardo was really good. This team is different, man. Like there's so many people. What if you like good team defense? State is the team to watch, but they're going to have their hands full against Kentucky. There are several players that can score for them. So we will take a quick break, and then we will come back and talk about transfer portal additions, talk about a very big-time receiver that is visiting today, and some people who visited the past couple of days, and a commitment and then we'll get to college football playoff talk. So we will be right back after this.
All MPW digital podcasts are brought to you by our friends at Parish Brewing Company, located in the heart of Cajun country in Broussard, Louisiana. Parish Brewing Company's simple goal is to make awesome craft brewed beer, and they do it remarkably well. The doctor is introducing their new go-to IPA, Dr. Juice. It's a highly crushable juice bomb, dry hopped with a blend of their favorite hand-selected hops from the Yakima Valley in Washington. Dr. Juice's drinkability is sneaky good, considering it clocks in at 6% ABV. The pour glows a rich cantaloupe hue with a thick frosted haze, soft mouthfeel, an aroma and taste that's full of passion fruit, papaya, and blood orange, making it drink like a glass of freshly squeezed juice. They also have Ghost in the Machine. It's a double IPA brewed with obscene quantities of hand-selected Citra hops from Yakima Valley. Expect pungent grapefruit flavors and aromas, tropical fruit, less harsh bitterness than most IPAs. Again, it's Parish Brewing Company. Wherever you get your beer, check out Parish. Make sure that you look for them, because any beer that you get from Parish is going to be absolutely outstanding. Thank you from MPW Digital.
Austin, Mississippi State in the transfer portal. Seems like, a lot of their positions are getting solidified. We talked last week. There's one big position that they need help with, and that is wide receiver. And some help came this week. Wide receiver from Eastern Michigan, your school that you dreamed about going to when you were a kid. Am I right on that?
That is true. I don't know why, but I mean, literally I was like 5 years old saying I wanted to go to Eastern Michigan. I don't know. Maybe I like playing with them on NCAA. I don't know, but that was just always my dream.
It's so fun as I'm sitting here talking about this, that the fact you and I are brothers, looking side by side, dude. There ain't no way we're related by blood. It's so fun. I'm looking side by side. I'm like, there's literally no way, man.
True.
Doesn't
And like, just for the people listening, nobody ever believes this, or they always give us a second look. Like, come on,
it's by blood though. It's by blood.
It is true.
At least that's what we've been told. But Mississippi State picked up Marcus Allen from Eastern Michigan, a guy. He's a big receiver, 6'2", 200 pounds. Caught over 600 yards worth of passes last season at Eastern Michigan. I think he helps State for sure. Especially being a bigger receiver. I've liked watching him, and obviously Levy likes him a lot as well. But it does not solidify your wide receiver room. And so yesterday, State brought in Anthony Evans, the wide receiver from Georgia, who's kick returner, blazing fast, and could help State out a lot. He's had an injury in the past, but a guy obviously State really likes. And then today, State is hosting former Ole Miss wide receiver and former number 1 wide receiver in Mississippi, Aiden Williams, today. And it looks, I mean, there are reports that this thing is going to be done today as well. And I got to tell you, Austin, if State walks away with what they have thus far, got Marcus Allen, and get Aiden Williams today, is State finished, you think, or do you think they're going to try to get one more?
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, they might be. I mean, yeah, they really might be finished. I mean, they got a lot of wide receivers in the portal that just none with a lot of wide receiver 1 potential. I feel like the Eastern Michigan guy. I really do think that he's going to play a good bit this season, just because I mean we don't have a lot of pieces, and he's not the NIU guy we got. I mean, I'm not trying to be disrespectful at all, but he was the third. He had the 3rd most yards on NIU. And he committed to an SEC team. That's weird to me. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. But this Eastern Michigan guy, he definitely could come in and I think he has potential to play and maybe even start during the season. We'll see where this wide receiver room is at. But yeah, I think that if we get Aiden Williams, or at least Anthony Evans, I think that we might throw in the towel.
Yeah, if you get both of them, I think you're done. I mean, then you'd have the speed with Evans and Aiden Williams. Aiden Williams being there, I like Aiden Williams as your number 1. He's shown potential at Ole Miss, but they've had a really good wide receiver room. But that would be a big win. You know what I was thinking about though? If Mississippi State does get Aiden Williams from Ole Miss, I cannot remember an Ole Miss football player transferring to Mississippi State. Can you think of anybody?
You tweeted about it, and I was trying to think. I can't think of one. I really can't. I mean, I can think of some, Mississippi State. I mean, just last year, the Carlos Richardson transferred there before he entered the draft. But yeah, going to state, I don't know of anybody that's done it.
I'm sure it's happened somewhere along the way, like maybe way back in the day. I cannot remember anybody. So if you can think of anybody in the comments, let us know. But I can't think of anybody that's done that. But it would be big for State, and State got Davon Booth back this week as well. So State is going to have a real strength in the running game this season, to where they really had to rely on throwing the ball to Kevin Coleman early in the season, just because there was not a lot going on there. It is concerning though that, I mean, Marcus Allen, he had 643 yards at Eastern Michigan. He was not the leading receiver, but like it was very close between him and one other guy. Had a 187-yard game versus Buffalo. I mean, it's just, you just never know. It's like they're coming against completely different competition. And so it makes me nervous to say State's done after this.
Yeah, no, I agree. And one thing that I've been thinking about is like, yeah, these guys have 600 yards, but I keep on thinking about Trent Hudson, who did not play at all for us. And he had 800 yards at New Mexico, New Mexico State. Like, he had a lot of yards and he had a lot of touchdowns because he was like their red zone guy who they would throw up to, kind of like our Caleb Ducking from 2 years ago. Like, he was their guy, and he didn't even I remember him in the Eastern Kentucky game, but I don't even remember him in another game other than that. And I remember when we got him, I was like, this guy's going to be in the rotation of wide receivers, and he wasn't. So, if he wasn't good enough to get on that roster, get on the field with us, just thinking about these guys, I mean, I don't know, but I could be completely wrong, and they might be really good for us next year, and I hope I'm wrong, but we'll have to see.
Yeah, to finish with this, I was trying to think, going back last season, going into the season, we were thinking, even then, I don't know if we were really big on wide receiver, like who's the wide receiver that's going to step up. We weren't all saying Kevin Coleman's going to be as good as he's going to be. We thought he could be good, but didn't think that. I think Kelly Akakari, we thought, man, he could be really, really good. You just never know. I mean, it's the coaches can evaluate these guys. So we will. I forget about Cam Thompson from NIU, but as you said, you never know. He could pop at the next level, or just kind of fizzle out and not play like some of these other guys. I hate that Creed transferred away. I mean, he'd have time and opportunities, but
yeah,
understandable. Austin, tell us about the college football playoff.
Yeah, I mean, starting tonight, we got. I mean, the winner of this game goes to the national championship. Two of these teams, Penn State, you can't ask me the last year they went to the national championship. I have no idea. And then Notre Dame, it's been a while since they've been. Brian Kelly did not have the chance to bring them a national champion, but maybe Marcus Freeman does. And it all starts at 6:30 tonight. Notre Dame is favored to win, and the line is 1.5. But it's at Penn State. And it's gonna be a good game. To be honest, I'm taking Notre Dame. They looked really good against Georgia. Obviously, I know Gunnar Stockton was playing, but they looked really good. They looked way better than I thought they were going to look against Georgia. And Riley Leonard's playing some really, really good football. I mean, Indiana, you can say what they want about Indiana, but they beat them soundly. They beat them by 10, but Indiana scored in the last minute of the game, so they really beat them by more than that. I got Notre Dame. I think Penn State, you know how I feel about James Franklin. They got real lucky with the Boise State team that really only had Ashton Genty. And, it's just, I don't know. I like Notre Dame here. Riley Leonard's, he's been on one. He's been a really fun to watch in these playoffs. And I got them go to the national championship.
Who would have thought, man, I would not have thought at the beginning of the season Notre Dame would be this close. But yeah, Notre Dame, Penn State tonight, 6:30. Notre Dame is favored by 1.5. Yeah, I know. It's so weird to think. Even out loud, Penn State is one game away from that. But they had people. Look, people said it. I didn't believe it, but Penn State had a very favorable path to the playoff, and sure enough, they took advantage of it. I like Notre Dame in this game as well. I really have become a fan of Marcus Freeman and how this team has just completely transformed from the beginning of the season to how they've been playing as of late. I didn't see it coming. And Ryan Leonard, he can get the job done well enough. Jeremiah Love, I really like, but their defense as a team is really, really good and fun to watch. They're a fun defensive team to watch. So I like Notre Dame in this game, and to think Notre Dame getting back to the national title is huge. I was listening to Colin Cowherd yesterday, and I like Cowherd for those who don't know. I know a lot of folks don't like him, but Cowherd made a great point, and that is that Notre Dame has a particular advantage over some of these schools. The people who go to Notre Dame, players go to Notre Dame, love the school a lot. And so they can kind of keep some of their players as opposed to some of these people who are 1 year, rentals to go wherever. Some people who end up going to Notre Dame love the school Notre Dame and grow up loving Notre Dame because it's unique compared to anywhere else. Like Alabama's clone is Georgia, Ohio State, they have the Michigan or Penn State, but Notre Dame kind of is its own thing where it is in the country. And they have the advantage of not being a part of a conference, having to go, week in, week out. Notre Dame might be really good over this next, 5-year period, especially with Marcus Freeman if he stays there. That just because the players they're able to get and keep, and then their schedule being a part of it, man, like that they have an advantage over the next couple of years as time goes on. So I'm with you there. What about in the other game with Ohio State?
Yeah, this next game, Ohio State and Texas, this game feels like the national championship. Two monster teams with crazy rosters, 5 stars all over the board. This is a massive. This feels like it's the national championship just from a talent perspective. But yeah, 6:30 kickoff. I don't know. I picked Texas to win the national championship, but I don't know. Ohio State's hot. But I will say Ohio State is favored to win by 6. I'm gonna have to take Texas on this. I know a lot of people are taking Ohio State. I'm taking Texas. I'm keeping the SEC. I think I want to stay true to my prediction last week, and my prediction was Texas. I don't know, man. Quinn Ewers, he has. I don't know. He might come back next year, but he only has 2 more games left. And Steve Sarkisian, he is such a good offensive mind, which I know Ryan Day is as well. I'm very excited to see what the 2 great offensive minds can do in a big game like this. This is going to be must-watch TV. If you got a television at home, you better be tuned in because this is going to be a great game. And this is just 2 behemoths, just rosters filled with stars, filled with NFL players. And but yeah, give me the Longhorns.
Well, and you mentioned Quinn Ewers. Honestly, as much as Quinn Ewers got beat up the past couple of weeks, he played well in his last game and had some solid moments. But no, I'm taking Ohio State. I think Ohio State has it all. They're the most expensive roster for a reason. In college football history, I just think they're loaded. Jeremiah Smith, man, has just been so incredible to watch, especially as a freshman. You think about him and Ryan Williams is going to be a really fun rivalry over the next couple of years, just because how extremely talented that they are. Although I just had this thought, do you think Ryan Williams will be able to experience the playoffs in his career? Because he's only going to play 3 years. He's only going to play more years. Do you think he'll be able to experience a playoff at least 1 year?
That's true. That would be a really good discussion to talk about, like during the off season. I would love to dive deep into that. To be honest, I don't know. We'll see how good Ty Simpson can play this year. I think he's going to be the X factor for them. We'll see, but he might not. He might not.
Like a guy that talented to miss out, to never be able to get a chance to play in the playoff would be a sad thing. But it's also one of those things I could see a guy like if they struggle next year, him being like, all right, I'm out and go to, wherever, Ohio State, go to, somewhere else and, be able to play and compete. I don't know. It sounds crazy, but things are not looking great for Alabama. They're just not compared to what the expectation is, year in and year out. So, but that concludes where it is. We're looking forward to a great time in SEC basketball. It's just fun on a Tuesday night, on a late Wednesday night, Thursday night. Just having random SEC basketball is so fun. I mean, last night Alabama and South Carolina, it's rocking. And even though Alabama is clearly the much better team, like you get some sort of SEC basketball on random weeknights. It is fantastic, and we'll have some special stuff leading up to March Madness on the show. But until Monday, we will sign off. Be careful and don't get snowed in this weekend, man. It's gonna be a very cold one, gonna be a rough one. But hopefully you have time, have a good time with your families. Enjoy the snow as much as you can. Make sure you get bread and milk. Got to get it. Got to get it. I went ahead and got some bread the other day just to make sure we were good. Got some stuff I can cook on the charcoal fire in case power goes out. I think we'll be fine. But until next time, we will see you. And thank you so much for listening to My Dogs Are Barking on MPW Digital.